Let's talk about something that's been happening quietly, almost invisibly, but with seismic impact. Men are walking away, not out of bitterness, not rage, not some dramatic protest, but out of exhaustion, out of clarity, out of a realization that the game they've been playing was never built for them. This isn't some viral trend. No hashtags, no movement, no manifesto, just a gradual, deliberate retreat. One man at a time, one disappointment at a time, one ghosted message, one dismissive glance, one moment of realizing his effort didn't matter. And here's the twist: they're not just walking away from dating, they're walking towards something else, something quieter, something stronger, something that doesn't require them to audition for their own worth. Let's unpack this. For years, men were told to do more, be more, earn more, dress sharper, communicate better, love harder. And they did. They showed up, they improved, they adapted. But every time they leveled up, the goalpost moved. Every time they gave, the gratitude disappeared. Every time they tried, the silence grew louder. So they stopped trying, not because they stopped caring, but because they realized caring in the wrong direction can destroy you. This is not a story about giving up, it's a story about choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, self respect over performance. Let me paint the picture. You've got men who once dreamed of marriage, of building something real. Now they sit alone in apartments that are finally quiet. No yelling, no passive aggression, no emotional roller coasters, just peace. And that peace, it feels better than love ever did. Because modern love, at least the way it's sold, started to feel like a debt you could never pay off. A man could give his time, his loyalty, his entire heart, and still be told he's not enough. Still be compared to someone richer, taller, more mysterious. So he stopped playing the game. He stopped auditioning for roles he never applied for, stopped chasing people who saw him as replaceable. And when he did, something unexpected happened. He found clarity. He found power. He found peace. Now, let's be real. The shift didn't happen overnight. There was no announcement, no protest. It happened in silence. One date, one disappointment, one she ghosted me at a time. It happened when men realized effort no longer guaranteed connection, when sincerity became invisible, when games became the new language of love. Dating used to be simple: dinner, laughter, long drives, awkward smiles. Now it's interviews, checklists, negotiations. A man walks into a date wondering what test he's about to fail. He's not meeting someone, he's being evaluated. And the criteria? Be exceptional. Not good, not kind, not loyal, exceptional. So he steps back, first mentally, then emotionally, then physically. He stops messaging first, not because he's playing games, but because he's tired of starting conversations that go nowhere. He stops planning dates because last time he did, she said she wasn't feeling it. He stops trying to impress because every time he did, it felt like a job interview with no callback. Somewhere along the line, men stopped believing they were partners. They started feeling like applicants. And when you feel like an applicant in your own relationship, something breaks, not your pride, not your ego, your spirit. So men began to realize they didn't need to prove their worth to people who couldn't see it. And they realized peace isn't found in being loved, it's found in being free from the need for approval. That's the shift. That's the quiet revolution no one talks about. Men didn't stop dating because they stopped believing in love. They stopped because love stopped believing in them. Let's go deeper. There was a time when effort meant everything, when showing up mattered, when doing your best counted for something. But somewhere between filtered selfies and highlight reels, effort stopped being enough. Men didn't notice it right away. They kept trying. They kept giving. They thought maybe if they worked harder, they'd finally be appreciated. But instead of being seen, they were measured. Kindness became simper energy. Generosity became expected. Loyalty became invisible. And silence, that was misinterpreted as weakness. He'd open a door, she'd roll her eyes, he'd compliment her, she'd call it cringe. He'd plan a date, she'd post it online without mentioning his name. Appreciation didn't disappear, it just stopped going both ways. Men went from providers to placeholders, useful until replaced, valuable until criticized, wanted until expected. And when men realized their effort didn't hold value anymore, they stopped offering it. They learned the hard way that love today often feels like a subscription. Pay monthly, get minimal returns, cancel anytime. So they canceled, not loudly, not angrily, just like quietly. They stopped calling, stopped caring, stopped hoping, not because they stopped loving, but because they were tired of proving they were worth being loved back. You can't break a man by rejecting him. You break him by making his effort meaningless. And that's what happened. Now you'll find those same men in places where effort still matters. At the gym, in their work, in their craft, in their solitude. They pour their energy into things that won't betray them, won't belittle them, won't ask them to apologize for trying too hard. They've learned something most people don't understand until it's too late. Peace, not love, is the ultimate prize. And when you give a man peace, he'll move mountains for you. Take it away, he'll never come back. You ever notice how silence starts to feel like safety? Not loneliness, not isolation, but actual grounded safety. That's what a lot of men are discovering right now, not because they hate women, not because they're bitter, but because they've finally stopped gaslighting themselves. They've stopped pretending that the chaos was normal, that the emotional whiplash was just part of love, that being misunderstood, misread, or misused was romantic tension. It wasn't, it was dysfunction. And now that they've tasted peace, they're not going back. Let me give you a scenario. A man spends years trying to be the good guy. He listens, he supports, he shows up. He's not flashy, not mysterious, just steady. But steady doesn't trend. Steady doesn't go viral. Steady doesn't make her friends gasp in group chats. So she leaves for someone more exciting, more chaotic, more fun. And when that burns out, she might circle back. But by then, he's gone. Not out of spite, out of evolution. He's not the same man anymore. He's not waiting to be chosen. He's choosing himself. And that's the shift no one saw coming. Men aren't just opting out of dating, they're opting into sovereignty, into self respect, into a life where they don't have to explain their worth, where they don't have to apologize for wanting peace. You see it in the way they move. They're not chasing anymore. They're building. They're not begging anymore. They're creating. They're not proving anymore. They're living. And the irony, now that they've stopped trying to be desirable, they've become magnetic because nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't need validation, who doesn't need to be seen to feel real, who doesn't need to perform to feel worthy. That's the man who sleeps well at night. That's the man who laughs without fear. That's the man who loves without losing himself. But let's not romanticize this too much. This shift came with pain, with grief, with nights staring at the ceiling, wondering what went wrong, with years of trying to be enough for people who never saw him clearly. This wasn't a clean break. It was a slow death of illusions, of expectations, of the fantasy that if he just loved hard enough, he'd be loved back. But now he's awake. And when a man wakes up, really wakes up, he doesn't go back to sleep. He doesn't re enter the same burning building just because someone says they've changed. He doesn't trade his peace for potential. He doesn't sacrifice his clarity for chemistry. He's done with that. He's not bitter. He's just done. And that's a different kind of power. A quiet, grounded, unshakable power. the kind that doesn't need to be loud to be real, the kind that doesn't need to be seen to be felt. Hard times are here. Jobs are disappearing fast. And if you lose yours, you could be homeless in a few months or even a few weeks. But it doesn't have to be that way. Check out Angry's Creator Academy and learn how to build your own online business using YouTube to grow it. And get the free creator blueprint when you sign up. The link's in description below. Go check it out now. Now here's where it gets interesting. Society doesn't know what to do with these men because they don't fit the narrative. They're not angry. They're not broken. They're not desperate. They're just free. And freedom is threatening because a free man can't be manipulated, can't be guilted, can't be controlled. He's not playing the game anymore. He's building his own arena. And that scares people because if more men do this, if more men opt out of the performance, what happens to the system that profits off their insecurity? What happens to the apps that need them to swipe endlessly? What happens to the industries that sell them confidence in a bottle? What happens to the narratives that say men are the problem? They start to crumble. Because the truth is, a lot of men weren't the problem. They were the scapegoats, the emotional punching bags, the ones told to man up. Finish it, absolutely, Lincoln. Here's the final continuation of your full paragraph script, picking up exactly where it left off. They were the scapegoats, the emotional punching bags, the ones told to man up and do better while being denied basic empathy. And now they're done. Not with women, with the performance, with the asymmetry, with the emotional labor that was never reciprocated. They're not asking for much, just honesty, just clarity, just mutual effort. But even that became too much to ask. So they stopped asking and started building. You'll find them in the gym at 6 a.m., not to impress anyone, but because discipline feels better than desire. You'll find them learning skills, not to flex, but because mastery feels better than approval. You'll find them alone, not lonely, just finally at peace, because peace isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of performance. And when a man stops performing, he starts living, he starts breathing, he starts becoming, not the version others wanted, the version he was always meant to be. Let's talk about that version. The post-performance man. He's not flashy. He's not loud. He's not chasing. He's building. He's grounded. He's clear. He's dangerous. Not because he's violent, but because he's free. Free from the need to be liked. Free from the fear of being alone. Free from the illusion that love requires sacrifice of self. He's not anti-relationship. He's pro-alignment. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, he lets it go. No drama. No begging, no chasing, just clarity. And that clarity, it's intoxicating because it's rare, because it's earned, because it's real. You can't fake clarity. You can't filter it. You can't buy it. You have to suffer for it. You have to lose for it. You have to die to your illusions. And that's what these men have done. They've died to the fantasy and been reborn in reality, not cynical, not jaded, just clear. And clarity is power. Let me say that again. Clarity is power. Because when you know who you are, you stop negotiating your worth. You stop explaining your value. You stop auditioning for roles you never wanted. You just live. And in that living, you attract what's real, not what's flashy, not what's trendy, what's real, because real recognizes real. And when a man becomes real, truly real, he becomes undeniable, not because he's loud, but because he's rooted, not because he's perfect, but because he's whole. And wholeness, that's the new currency, not looks, not status, not followers. Wholeness, because in a world of fragments, wholeness is revolutionary. And that's what these men are becoming. Revolutionaries, not with signs, not with slogans, with silence, with sovereignty, with self-respect. They're not asking for permission. They're not waiting for validation. They're just living. And in that living, they're rewriting the rules, not to win the game, to leave it, to build something better, something real, something whole. And that's the future. Not louder, clearer, not angrier, wiser, not bitter, rooted. That's where we're headed. That's what's coming. And if you're a man listening to this, feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling like maybe you're not crazy, good. You're not. You're just waking up. And waking up is the first step. The next step, build, not to prove, not to impress, to live, to breathe, to become. Because the world doesn't need more performers. It needs more men who've stopped apologizing for being awake. Men who've stopped chasing what doesn't nourish them. Men who've stopped mistaking chaos for chemistry. Men who've stopped trading peace for proximity. That's the new frontier. Not louder, not flashier, not more optimized, just real, just whole, just clear. And clarity? Clarity is the most dangerous thing a man can possess because it makes him uncontrollable, unshameable, unshakable. Or he's not reactive. He's not performative. He's not waiting. He's building. And when a man builds from clarity, everything changes. His relationships, his work, his health, his presence, because he's no longer trying to be impressive. He's trying to be true. And truth doesn't need applause. It just needs space. That's what these men have found. Space to breathe, to think, to feel, to become. Not the version society wanted, the version they were designed to be.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.